Up until now, we've done manually what the work with pattern does automatically and comprehensively. Note that the pattern creates web panels that are very similar to the ones we've just created. So, why did we choose to study web panels and how to implement them manually? Because we'll need to be able to design web panels if we want to do things that can't actually be done with work with. For example, if rather than invoking another web panel to display the seats of the flights each customer is registered in, we want those flights to be displayed in a different grid in the same screen. We can't do it with a work with because it only provides one grid. This can easily be done with web panels. We'll insert a 1 by 2 table and assign each cell a vertical top alignment so that the content is aligned at the top. The grid we had is placed in the first cell. We then go to the web panel with the customer's flights and copy the grid. Next, we'll paste it in the second column of the table so that both grids are aligned. Remember that the second grid is loaded by browsing the table containing flight seats, flight seat, according to this condition. That is, the seats of the flights of the customer received as a parameter in the customer variable. This variable hasn't been defined in this web panel, so we'll define it. Based on the customer ID attribute. And it's loaded when clicking on the image of the plane rather than when invoking the customer flight's web panel. Thus, into the customer variable, we'll need to load the customer ID attribute, whose plane image must be selected. F5. Why do we get an error? Because now that you have more than one grid, there won't be a single load event, but rather one per each grid. We must assign a name to the customer grid and modify the event so that it becomes that grid's load. That is, the event that will be run when we want it to load. And finally, we press F5. We could not have implemented this web panel through the work with pattern.